In order to reach those really high band scores, the examiner wants you to use natural spoken English. This involves the use of idiomatic language. This is language native speakers use, which is often quite difficult for non-native speakers to understand, as translating the individual words in a phrase will often cause confusion or a misunderstanding. If you can use this type of language in the right context and grammatically correct when you speak, you can really push your score up. One great way to start building your ability to use idiomatic language is to start learning phrasal verbs. This is the type of language you often hear native speakers using. It is the combination of a verb and one or more prepositions, which can often have multiple meanings depending on the context. For example, take off. I could use this in a sentence like this. I was waiting for the plane to take off. In this case, take off means to leave the ground, but it can also have a couple of other meanings: to remove something or to leave a place. You might say, I had to take my shoes off before I went into the room. Or, I'll have to take off, it's past midnight. By using this type of language, you're showing you can use English flexibly and have a deep understanding of the different functions of certain words. There are thousands of phrasal verbs in English. Building this type of vocabulary takes time and effort, but can be very effective if you can use it in the test. Even just trying to use some phrasal verbs but not always getting it quite right can pick your score up a bit. A phrasal verb is one type of idiomatic language. There is lots of other idiomatic language you can use when speaking. And this is the type of language you will hear in the day-to-day speech of most people using English as their first language. The idiomatic phrases take on different meanings than the meaning of each word. For example, a piece of cake might be used to mean something is very easy. We use this kind of language in conversation all the time, and we sometimes use it in more formal language that we could apply to part 3 of the speaking test. For instance, the key to solving a problem is an idiomatic phrase that can be used when explaining solutions. Learning how to use this type of language can be quite challenging. Lists of idiomatic vocabulary are probably not going to help that much. If you're just learning from lists, there's a good chance you're not fully understanding the phrase and will use it in the wrong way. The best way to learn is when we have context. By finding this idiomatic language when we are listening to, reading, or watching something, and making a note of the context it is being used in, is the first step to be able to use it effectively. Once you get a full understanding of that phrase being used in a particular context, you could try to fit it into some of your practice for the test. Feedback on your word choice is very useful, but if you have learnt the phrase in context, then it is much more likely you will use it correctly. Thanks for watching. If you found the video useful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos.